everyone. My name is Laura Newell with System Surveyor. I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar focused on element profiles. This is a deeper dive in element profiles. In about 2 weeks, we will have a new user webinar. So if you need more assistance in kind of getting started with System Surveyor, definitely sign up for that one. But again, this is supposed to be more of a bite-sized 30-minute webinar, deeper dive into element profiles. We are recording this webinar, so look for a little goodie bag from me, usually by the end of the day with the recording, if you need to rewatch or share with a colleague. And also we'll have a couple little articles on there that'll help you as well. And with that, I will turn it over to Paul Kurz, our customer success specialist, who you probably all know on a first name basis. He enjoys working with all of you to successfully onboard and use System Surveyor effectively. Hey, Paul, can you hear me?
Laura, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much. Welcome to the webinar.
Perfect. Well, with that, a quick agenda today. Of course, we just did the welcome, and we're going to cover what are element profiles. We like to call them EPs, how to create element profiles, and updating your own element profiles, and also importing some of our partner and affiliates. And also, yes, to answer your question, please use the Q&A icon in the Zoom webinar interface, and we'll pepper in some questions during the webinar. Also, we'll cover a lot of the questions at the end. Also, use the chat to say hello, or if you have any tips, it is shared with everyone. So if you have any of your own little tips or want to share anything, use the chat. And with that, I'll turn it over to you, Paul.
All right. Thanks again. Great. So let's go over first off what element profiles are. So element profiles are, you could think of them essentially as a template or product catalog. We like to say a lot. It's basically any of the devices or products that you use can be stored digitally through element profiles so that you can quickly and easily toggle between them and have all of those attributes filled out. If it's the same kind of attributes that you use over and over again. It's a good way to do that. Like it says here, you can easily set up your favorite products. You can export them with an Excel sheet, and I'll show you that in just a bit here. And you can actually send those out to other teams or to partners if you want, if they use System Surveyor to import their to their team as well. And we also, like we said earlier, have some manufacturer affiliates that make it easy to quickly get access to their catalog. We have some of those available. And on our main page here, you can see if you click on our partners banner at the top and click on available manufacturer catalogs, we have a list of all of our manufacturers actually right here. You'll actually go in and click on that. Say, for instance, Hanwha, if you wanted theirs, you click on that, and it would take you to their shared drive and you could download and import from there. And we'll go over all that stuff in just a little bit here. So with that, I'll go ahead and hop over into my System Surveyor. Laura, are you able to see the System Surveyor workbench there?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and jump right into one of our sites here, Allen High School. It's a classic favorite we like to use on our webinars. And we're going to jump right into a blank survey I have prepared here for you guys. So I'm going to show you first the kind of the use of element profiles and how to create an element profile actually on the edit screen here. So let's go ahead and plop down a video surveillance on our fixed camera here. We'll go ahead and put it at the reception here. And we're not going to spend too much time on the orientation, but I like to make it nice here. So let's have it looking out over that reception area there. We'll go ahead and click on our attributes here. So attributes, I'm sure you are familiar here with the attributes window. And you'll notice here at the top towards where the pictures will be above all the information, you'll see a location for element profiles. And this is actually a drop down. So we'll go ahead and click the drop down. You can see we have a ton of them loaded in here right now. So we'll go ahead and just to show you what that looks like here, go ahead and click on our Hanwha 2 megapixel. You'll see as soon as I click that, it filled out the information here, filled out the component, manufacturer and model number, and the device price, which is what a lot of people look for element profiles and stuff like that. And also gave the spec sheets and URL links and stuff like that. So all that information is saved in element profiles. You can also create your own element profiles on your edit screen here. So I'll go ahead and let's place down another fixed camera. Back here, let me zoom in a little bit so you guys can see. But we'll go ahead and click on our attributes here. And so let's say I wanted to create an element profile from scratch here. So I'll just fill in a couple of these fields here just to get some identifying information and stuff like that. So we can add a descriptive label. I'll have this one be Paul's camera. And we're going to have the manufacturer is going to be Paul's Cool Cameras. And the model number is going to be KRS-476. Go ahead and put a device price in there too. Let's make it $345. Some of that information filled in here. You can fill in any of these fields that have a little blue star next to them, can all be filled in with information. And that goes for any of these tabs too: installation, functional, etc. All these can be pre-filled if you have the information available to you for all those. So I'll just go ahead and leave it basic here.
Also the color and the area of coverage can be defined also.
Absolutely, yeah. So you can do the color and the AOC angle. So the angle of that area of coverage can be predefined with a default value as well as a minimum and maximum. Thanks, Laura. So we'll go ahead and we'll just leave it at this basic here. Just fill out a couple of these things so you guys get the idea. And we'll click on our element profile dropdown. So the very first option here is going to be save current as element profile. So let's go ahead and do that. You'll get two different options. When you push that, you'll have a save as new element profile, which is what we're going to do. Or you can overwrite an existing element profile if you have one that you want to obviously overwrite. You can do that as well here. So I'll just go ahead and save it as new. Let's do element profile name is going to just be Paul's camera 1. We'll save that. Get a little well done message, means that we did it. So now we can actually, I'll show you guys here. We'll go ahead and take our fixed camera, put it right here. And then our attributes, that is going to be Paul's camera now under element profiles here. So that's the first way that you can create element profiles. It's good to do on the fly if you kind of are like, oh, I need to, let me just save this one because you're going to use it more for other surveys and stuff like that. And that's one thing I forgot to mention too, is that all your element profiles are saved for the whole team. So not only can you use it across all of your surveys that you're working on, but all of your other users and team members can use it on their surveys as well. So it's saved to the team itself when you do that. So I'll go ahead.
And in the element profiles, you can search too, right, Paul? So if
I'm going to show that in just a little bit.
Got it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's okay. No problem. Just making sure that I'm on track. I appreciate it. We'll go ahead and go back to the other way. I'm going to show you guys the other way to create element profiles and modify them. We'll go back out to our workbench here. So in the upper left, you're going to click on your avatar. You're going to want to go to the Manage Teams section here. This is how you're going to manage your element profiles as well. Now, you do need to be a team admin or an account admin to access the element profile section. So if you're a team member or a team member with InfoMask, you'll just need to ask an admin to make those modifications for you. And you go ahead and click on element profile here. So this is going to be where your element profiles are located on your team in your settings. Each of these is a different dropdown. So if you want to check out your access control ones, or if you want to check out your facility equipment ones, you'll just click the dropdown here and it'll show you the list of icons. Those should be pretty familiar to you guys. They look the same as on the floor plan here. So for fixed camera, we're actually going to go ahead and just click on fixed camera. And that's going to take us to our element profile view here. So you'll see that there's all the element profiles are listed kind of in these columns here. You can scroll to the right and to the left if you want. You can also make edits and changes and on this screen. There's a caveat to that. I'll get to that in a second. But you can make edits to this screen as well. You just click on edit and you can make those changes in here as well, similar to how you can do on the floor plan. If I click on edit on Paul's camera 1, looks pretty much the same. One thing I want to point out here is that actually you can set an element profile as a default. So if I were to set Paul's camera as a default here and save it, you'll see it has a little default indicator here. Whenever I pull a fixed camera onto the floor plan, it will automatically have Paul's camera applied to it. So if you have one that you want to be the standard, you can apply that default to it and it will automatically do that for you. It can be a time saver there as well. So there's another way to edit and modify those, and that is going to be through Excel by exporting the element profiles here. So you can click on this export button. It's going to create a Excel spreadsheet that'll download here. I'll go ahead and click on it because it takes a couple of minutes to go through here. I don't know if we had a question that I can answer or just want to wait.
Sorry, I was on mute. We do have some great questions while we're doing this. Can images of the elements be uploaded to the profile, not dropped element?
Images, I believe images can be, I know PDFs and URL attachments can be added. Images, I have to get back to you on that. I don't know if images are a special case.
Yeah, I don't know if images would transfer over with the elements. It's more like, I think though, if you saved it as maybe a PDF or something like that, it would attach, correct?
Yeah, so links definitely will, because you'll see it has a web link URL and stuff like that. But the I'm iffy on the file attachments, but I'm happy to get back to you about that.
Right. Okay. And do you still want to answer questions, or oh, it popped up. Perfect. Also, is the price cost or sell? I think it's kind of whatever you want it to be, right?
Yeah, it's whatever you want. It's kind of just it's really helpful for budget. If you have a budget estimator activated, you can do that in the profile on your team settings. That takes that into account when you're, it's adding up your budget. You could have it be the sell if you plan on showing it to customers. I know a lot of people, there's obviously the margins there and stuff like that. So they prefer to show the customer's price. But yeah, it's really up to you. It's kind of whatever you want to be the standard. If you're showing it to customers, just keep in mind it's whatever you want the customers to see.
Right. And I would assume that if it's our manufacturer partners, it would be the sell if you're uploading those.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Cool. So we have our Excel sheet pulled up here. Are you able to see that good, Laura, or I need to zoom in?
Maybe zoom in some.
Should be good. Cool. Perfect. So we'll go ahead and I'm going to click on enable editing here just because it's a protected file. One thing to note is that we do have some of the fields, or the cells rather, and columns password protected just because we want to do that to protect the data integrity of the document. If there were to be changes made and it gets uploaded, it might mess up the API running in the background. It won't be able to read it, etc. So there's only a few fields that we needed to protect. So this first column here with all the the attribute names and stuff like that, you won't be able to change that. You won't be able to make big changes like adding columns and stuff like that, but you can still copy and paste as long as it's within this area. And I'll show you that in a second. But anyways, I digress. So this is what we're looking at for our Excel sheet here. You can see the one that I added here, Paul's camera 1, showing up here. It's got all of that information on here. You can scroll down. We have different areas for this. Is kind of mirroring the attributes window, the different tabs and everything like that, as well as adding accessories. I'll get to that in a second here. But what I wanted to do is actually just make a quick change to Paul's camera. Let's say that I accidentally put the wrong price in there. Oops. So not instead of $345, it actually needs to be, let's say that it's actually $500. That's one of our premium models. So we need to make sure.
Paul's cameras. Yeah. Nice.
And so, yeah, let's say that we wanted to do that. So I'll go ahead and make that change there. So that way the device price is accurate here. And let's say that I wanted to add another camera in here. So if I don't want to do it on the edit screen there, I have the option to do it here. Let's say that I want to use this element profile as a base. So I'm just going to take it from the attribute tab up here. This is going to be row 3. Go ahead and take it, drag it all the way down, just so that way I can copy all that information. So I'll go ahead and copy, and then I'll go ahead and find the blank space here at the very end. Great, so I'll go ahead and paste it in there. So just paste all that information in there, but we're gonna wanna make sure we change the name because it can't be duplicate names. It won't recognize it. If there's 2 Paul camera 1, it will say that can't do that. So you got to change the name. So I'll go ahead and do Paul's camera 2, make it simple. I'll change the descriptive label as well. And this is going to be KRS 477. And this is going to be the 345 one. So that's the device price there. All that other information can stay there. And we can go ahead and actually save this now and make sure that our adjustments are saved. And then that's how you add, and that's how you edit on the Excel sheet. Now there's another thing on here that I wanted to show you guys. There's actually a second tab to the spreadsheet. This is going to be for accessories. So at the bottom here, you'll see that we have the accessories tab. If we click on it, it's going to pull up our accessories list. So there's a couple of them already added on here. A few of the manufacturer partners have. Hanwha, Rhombus, Turing have a few of those on here, but you can actually add your own as well.
And can you zoom in here, Paul, just a
Yeah,
little bit?
that's a good point. Yeah, go ahead and do that. There we go. So you can add your own accessories on here as well if you wish. So you could, have it be like accessory 13, add your description, manufacturer, just following the guidelines up here. I'm not going to do that today, just save it a little bit of time. But what I can do is show you how to add your accessories once you add them to this tab here to get them on the profile. Let's say I want Paul's camera 1 to have some of those accessories. In our accessories field here, we have a little drop down whenever you click on one of the fields there, and it will actually pull it straight from that other spreadsheet there, from that other page, and it'll just give you the list of the accessories. So let's say that I want the back box on there. Let's say that I want the night lens, and you can add as many as you want, and you can always take them off later. I'll show you in a second. So let's say we want the back box, day-night lens. Let's say that we also want an arm mount, and we can give ourselves some options too. So let's say we have a ceiling mount as well. Maybe we don't know, before we get on site, maybe we don't know what we need yet. We need to kind of scope out the location and see if we need an arm mount or a ceiling mount. So we can add both of those here. So that way, when we're out on site, we can say, oh yeah, this one needs an arm mount, and we can get rid of that ceiling mount one there. So I've added a couple of options for accessories here. Everything's looking good. So let's go ahead and save. All right, we're going to go back to our System Surveyor here, and we'll click the other button for that, which is going to be import. Click on import, and it's going to be, now I got to find it. Uh-oh, I think it's right here. Yep, that should be it. Go ahead and click on our Excel sheet. You want to choose the document there. Import, it's going to come up here, say that there's one profile added, a couple of profiles updated, and 12 accessories available. So you should be seeing this if you import it. Go ahead and click import again. Minutes here. I have a question maybe we can get to while we're waiting.
Good call. So we did have a question on why don't element profiles show up in alpha order? I'm not really sure why they're not in alphabetical order, but would you mind showing the reorder option here?
Yeah, so there is a reorder option up at the upper right here. And by the way, it worked. So it imported, so we're good. I'll go ahead and click the reorder option. It lets you order it. And I don't know off the top of my head the logic behind what the order is.
Right.
I know that it has to do with when it's created, but it's not 100% because obviously you can see the one I just created is only second. So I'd have to get back to you on.
No, that's a really good question.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'll have to investigate that too. But you have the reorder option. So if you wanted to have this Hanwha one, if you wanted obviously Paul's cameras to be above all else, you can do a reorder there and save it, and it'll show up in that order there. So let's go ahead, and I think everything looks good here. Let's go back out to our survey here. Survey. Good thing to point out here is that if you have a survey already filled out and you make a change to an element profile that you were using here, so let's say that if I made a change to this Hanwha one, I completely changed it, it's not retroactive. The data is still in there, so you won't lose any of the information on others' surveys. So that way, if you make a change, it doesn't completely, change other people's work on your team and stuff like that. But if you wanted to, you could always just reapply the element profile here to update it. So I get that question a lot. So it doesn't make the retroactive updates. You just need to go in and do that. And that's for a purpose. So great. So we'll go ahead and let's go ahead and just drop down another camera here in this little hallway area. Okay. Perfect. So we'll go to our attributes. And you saw that because I made Paul's camera 1 default, it actually popped up there automatically when I placed it down. So you'll notice that when we do our camera 2 here, you'll see that it makes all the changes. Probably wasn't enough of a change to really notice between the two, but yeah.
The price is better though.
Yeah, the price is better. So we'll go ahead and do that. And I wanted to just show to, well, I remember the search option. So we have a search option up here. So say I wanted to, I have like, you can have quite a lot. I've seen, over 100, 200 element profiles added. So it could be a lot to scroll through. So if you wanted to just make it easy, you can search for like Hanwha and it'll automatically pull those up there. If you wanted to just isolate Paul's camera, you can do that as well and have that be here. Whoops.
Like to mention too, like a best practice is make sure you're naming it with something. You don't want to just say like, say the part or something, maybe name it something that's like Turing camera, blah, 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 or something that works for across your organization, so when they're searching, it's not as difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And another thing with naming too, we get this question sometimes is how to, if you have a difference between different element profiles that you want to use on different floors. So say this is Allen High School floor 2. If you have a certain set of cameras that you want to have just for floor 2, it's the same specs and everything like that. And you want to have it for, say, let's go to floor 1 here. You can always name them something like, this is going to be Hanwha 2 megapixel for floor 2. This is Hanwha 2 megapixel for 3, etc. So that way you can, go between those. You don't have to make changes. Am I explaining that right, Laura?
I think so. We just had the question
Yeah.
the other day that a person only uses one camera for one site and how to do that successfully. And we were like, element profiles, just say that project, the floor, and then you can just use those element profiles across the board.
Exactly. Yep. So that, what else did I have? Anything else? Oh,
Well,
yeah, there was one thing I wanted to show too about door packages. How could I
right.
forget? Let me go ahead and do that. So not only can you save element profile, just your regular elements, you can also save your containers and door packages, or it doesn't have to be a door, any kind of container, as an element profile as well. So let's go ahead and bring our single door out here in our hallway here. And let's put our electronic lock set in there. And we'll put a card reader in there as well. And how about a door position? So we got our 3 sub elements in there. You can put in as many as you want, as you know. We'll go ahead and go to our attributes here, and you can actually save this door package as an element profile as well. So if I were to save current as element profile, let's just say door 1. Perfect. So it's saved there. And now I can show you single door. If I wanted to put it on here, you could always duplicate it, but if you wanted to say have it on a different survey, for instance, element profile would be useful there. So we go to our attributes, element profile door 1, and you see that it actually populates the sub elements in there. And each of those is going to have an element profile too. So if you wanted to kind of do layers of, this one has its own element profile, etc., you can do that as well. But I just wanted to show you guys that you can actually utilize EPs with containers as well.
Paul, can you save accessories from within this team element profile area? Say within
from the edit screen here?
Right here. Yeah, instead of using the Excel.
Yeah, you can. So you have, there's an option for accessories over here. You do want to be wary. It will give you an error if you try and name it the same as an already existing accessory. So if you already have an accessory named like backbox and you try to create one, it will not let you. It won't like it basically. But you do have the option to do that. Yeah, and it'll save it and it'll be in the element profiles later as well. But with that, I think that's covers it, I think.
We do, you can save, say, infrastructure, cable paths, all of them. So say you're running cables and you have 3 cables across the board, you can also save those as element profiles, correct?
That's right. Yep. So the cable paths are elements just like anything else. So they have the same functionality. So you can actually there's already one, test one. You can save it there. So cable paths are also an option for element profiles.
Great. And we do have a lot of questions. So can element profiles with 0 elements be hidden? I'm not sure if he's meaning like, Michael, if you can expand on
Yeah.
that. Does
Do
that
you
make sense to you,
mean
Paul?
if they have, if they're not being used, if like 0 of them are, so if you have like 4 cameras and none of them are the Hanwha, if it's hidden there, yeah, maybe a little elaboration would help.
Right. Perfect. Is there a RESTful API which can populate element profiles into elements?
Not right now, but I'm not sure if maybe Laura, you have any more information about that, but
I do. We are working on an API right now. Hopefully it'll be released soon, but we're hoping to kind of not have the spreadsheets anymore and just be able to import the catalogs, and then you can kind of pick. But as of right now, it's not fully ready for release yet. So, but that
getting there.
is, yes, roadmap. We are working on that. Perfect. Is it possible to lock how many area of coverages per multi-sensor is shown? For example, for example, locking a dual sensor to show with 2 area of coverages.
I don't think that that's possible right now, like locking it like so that it can't add any more. Whoops, wrong thing. I think that's what you mean there. Oops.
And say if we had like a
Yeah, so let's do,
multi-camera,
yeah, multi-camera is probably the best.
I think you could hide, right? And save it
Yeah,
as
you
a,
can,
so say like,
yeah, so like if you wanted to like say have like 5 of them or 3 and then save that as an element profile, is that what the question is?
I believe so. And you can also hide, say like, you could take none, right? You could, yeah, you're doing it right now. Perfect.
Yeah. You know, I'm not sure if the coverage, the amount of cameras AOCs cones or whatever is saved. Let's actually test it out. So let's see. So this has 2 here. I don't believe that it is. Oops, I have to log back in. I got signed out. Womp womp. That's okay. I don't believe that the amount is saved on there. I could be wrong, but I can get back to you on that.
Well, we can test it once you get
Yeah,
logged back in. Let's see. Any plans to add any additional documentation uploaded to the element profile to floor plan or any other enhanced reports? Uploaded to the element profile to floor plan. So I do think, I'm not sure if you mean like PDF attachments to the element profile, like can you add? I know you can add as many as up to like 5, depending on your license. But we are working on more enhanced reports for a future release. If that's what you mean. Like we're working on some updates to our actual enhanced reports to show, say you drop a camera that's green, it'll show on the floor plan as green and instead of like the normal standard orange color, if that makes sense. Let me know if that helps answer your question. Okay. So
yeah, so the amount of coverage cones isn't saved to the profile right now, although that I can see that being a good addition maybe on
yeah.
our roadmap. But you could always, remove the amount of cones and then apply it afterwards, apply the element profile afterwards.
Okay. If you don't have any accessories assigned to an element picked, can you pick it from the list during the site walk?
So if you don't have any applied to the profile, you can always enter them in. So for instance, go back to our camera here. So this is actually something I did want to show you guys. So when you're on your accessories here, you actually can, say we did find out, oh, I need the ceiling mount. I can actually delete it here. That's kind of I guess the best practice would be to add all the possible accessories to the profile before, so that way you don't have to worry about adding them in while you're on the site walk, because you'd have to do it manually if it wasn't saved to the profile. But if you did save, like say there was, if this one had like 7 possible different mounts, and you wanted to choose while you're on site, then you would want to save them all 7 to the element profile, and then just delete the ones that you don't need and just leave the one that you want. So
Yeah.
that way you don't have to worry about entering all that information and, oh, I misspelled it and it didn't like that. Now I have something weird saved to my element profile or something like that. So that's kind of the best practice, is just to have them all the options available to you, and then just remove them as you kind of work on the survey.
Right. Currently, there's not a way to say like type in and search for one and have it pulled up, but
Right. Yeah. Not right now. Yeah. Like a drop down. I can see there being like a little drop down or something like that, but not right now. But that's another good thing that we can bring to the product team.
Are there any plans for keyboard shortcuts, or are there any that I'm missing? Seems like there could be a lot of mouse movements to get to these surveys done.
There are a few keyboard shortcuts. So you have the option to just use the delete keyboard here, delete key. So I just pushed it there. You couldn't see, but you can just press delete. There's actually an article on our help center that has a few of them, the keyboard shortcuts as well. If you want to check it out, it's in the starting your survey section.
Right. And Jordan, maybe I'll just send that to you after, so you can have that. Perfect. New element type. How does System Surveyor handle cable designs? So I believe he's talking about cable infrastructure. But
yeah, I guess we want a little bit more specific information.
right.
We do have a flex cable path, and you can, we actually, we have a webinar coming up about that, right? Or
Yes,
yeah,
just on flex cable, I believe.
Yeah. So you can, have that, and if you can see it on my screen here, then it's more or less its own element. So it's just kind of a special element, but you have your, its own attributes and different cables you can add and stuff like that. Maybe a little bit more specific what you're looking for would help me kind of answer that more, but I'm happy to talk about that.
Right. Is it possible to add a different product category to the video surveillance group?
A different product category. I guess I'm not sure what
No, and
that.
I do think if you don't see a video surveillance type in here that we don't have, then please let us know. So like convert camera. We would love more information. Every element that you see on here was actually requested by a customer. So we'd love more information so we can get that on the roadmap and have it added. A lot of times people find a workaround with the general component.
Yeah, there's general component here and a couple of different ones. And sometimes, people will use these more as a suggestion. You find an icon that looks kind of like what you want, and then you can always just change the descriptive label. So say that I wanted this actually to be like a Roomba. So maybe there was a Roomba that I wanted. So instead of an equipment rack, I could just say this is a Roomba. And then it'll say, Roomba. And if you don't like that ID there, you can actually just completely delete it, and it'll just say Roomba on there. So I've seen people do that. But yeah, we are always looking for suggestions for new like icons and element types.
Yeah. Is it possible to replace the default device type to a custom icon showing a product?
There's not a way to do custom icons yet. That's something that we really want to add. I know that we get that request a lot, and I know that our product team is really working on ways to implement that. But so we definitely hear you, and we definitely want that for the future, but not right now.
Yes. So can you create a door container element profile with specific sub element profiles within? And I believe that's what we just...
Yeah. So if you were to say, for instance, like you can have like this this reader here can have its own element profiles as well. I guess really maybe you're asking more if it's automatic. So if you put the element profile, like do apply door 1, automatically those profiles will be on there. I don't think that you can do that yet, but you can always just go in and just apply the element profile in here individually as well.
And of course, if it's your default, then it will populate that.
That's right. Yep. So if it is the default, then it will it will automatically do that. But obviously you can only have one at a time. So it might be a little bit limiting depending on your use, but it is possible if you use the defaults.
Okay. So, so say we're back to that first question I asked about if the library had 0. Let's say if I never populate a fisheye when I go to choose surveillance, can fisheye be hidden from the drop-down icon list? I see. Okay. So I think the quick answer is no, not today. Like,
Yeah.
so if you don't use any certain ones of these, you can't kind of hide them. But we are working on a release in the next few months to have favorites, right, Paul?
Yes, that's right. Yes, you can have favorites to help kind of filter that out. It's a little bit of a difficult question, I guess, because some of your team members might, the idea is that some of your team members or users might want to use those. So how to differentiate it between which ones you're using and which ones you're not per user would be a little bit difficult, but that's what kind of the favorites are for, so that each person can have their own ones that they use, but all of them are available if you need to.
Right. And say you don't use communications or management, you can remove those from your view, but not just not the icons.
Exactly. Yeah. So you can remove these system types, as we call them, in your team settings here. So if you only use video surveillance, it doesn't clutter up as much there, just like what Laura said.
Perfect. Let's see. Can you add element profiles for accessories that can be linked to other product element profiles?
I would say yes. So you can have let me actually, I can open up my my Excel sheet again here.
Yeah. While you're doing this, I forgot to launch the poll. Here's a quick poll, guys. Just tell us how we're doing. And we love your input.
Yeah. So you can have, so if you have your list, you can put, if, for instance, this one has, Hanwha, Rhombus, and Turing has, any manufacturers you want, you can put your own in there as well. But, you could have this Hikvision one too, can also have a back box. It can have the same exact accessories as they could all have the same amount, same ones, so you could put any amount of different accessories on there if you want. If you don't, you can obviously separate them out too, but it's really up to you how you want to have the accessories. It's customizable in that way.
Right. And say if you the same kind of accessories but are on, say, a multi-lens, you could copy and paste those off of say one spreadsheet onto this one pretty
perfect
quickly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so the accessories page here is the same on all of the different profile spreadsheets. So it's the same information, so you could, like Laura said, just copy it and then paste it directly into the, if this was a multi-lens, you could just paste it right into there and then just go through and add those in there as well. Yeah, it's not automatic, so they're not shared across different element types, but you can copy those in there to do that.
Great. Let's see. So any other questions? I think we covered all these. You guys are nailing it today. You guys are hitting us with some tricky ones, but keep the questions coming in and we'll make sure to address them before we close up here. Of course, element profiles, all of our partners are listed. Go to the affiliate partners and just click on their logo and you can download and quickly import those in and have those in your drop down. What else am I missing here, Paul?
We already did our Q&A session here. Yeah, Resource Center.
Yes, Learning Center. So all of our upcoming webinars are here. Like Paul said, our Help Center quick link is here, where you can kind of get all of our articles and those quick links that I will send you. And then let's see if I have any last minute questions coming through. But you guys have been great. We really appreciate it. Reach out to Paul or our support team at any time. If you need a personalized demo for you or your team, reach out to sales@systemsurveyor.com. And we really appreciate you taking the time today.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Thanks again, Laura.
Thanks, Paul. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye, guys.